You are tuned into Be Bold Radio, breaking barriers over lives daily. This is the place for you to learn strategies and tools to turn your business, your dreams, and your goals into a reality. Thanks for tuning in to Be Bold Radio. This is your host, Dymeata B, and you're listening to episode number 97. Well, I hope you guys are having a productive week so far. And thank you guys for those who are tuning in today. And I also want to thank those who have tuned into our Be Bold in the City monthly empowerment calls. We host these monthly empowerment calls every first Monday of the month at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you are interested and you desire to be empowered and to also network with other believers, other people, and other people who want to go in the direction of succeeding in life, I encourage you to log on to www.beboldinthecity.com or follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at Be Bold in the City. And we want to connect with you. But on the website, Be Bold in the City, you can get the log on information and the access code to our phone calls. And you can listen to the previous sessions, previous messages on our empowerment call. So I'm encouraging you guys, those of you who have already participated and you've been joining our live calls so far, thank you. Our next empowerment call will be Monday, April the 2nd. That's the day after Easter. And if you're following us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, you will see the post before that date. But we are encouraging you to join us on those live calls. And we're going to, do some different things on those live calls, this year. But I'm encouraging you now to join us on those live calls, and then we'll give you more information on our upcoming events. But for today, I want to talk about, what to do when you begin to compare yourself to other people. What to do when you begin to compare yourself, because, the Bible says that he or she who compares him or herself among themselves is not counted as wise. So God is basically saying this is not a wise thing to do. And why does he say that? Because it triggers different emotions. It can cause bitterness, contention, strife, and it's definitely not healthy for you. So the Bible says that it's just not wise. So I want to give you a few a few things that I want you to focus on, and I want you to exercise when you find yourself tempted to compare yourself to other people. The first one is recognize that you're different. Recognize that everybody is different, So there's always going to be somebody who has accomplished something and you haven't accomplished it. I know all of my friends, for example, or most of my close friends, they have graduated with degrees. They have degrees. Well, I did not graduate from college. I did attend college for 3 years, but I did not finish and complete my college education. However, there were times that I felt like inadequate. I felt like I didn't count. When I was younger, I felt like I wasn't enough. And I had to learn that, I was born for a purpose, on a purpose, and with a purpose. And perhaps my purpose did not include completing college at that time. And not saying that I will or will not, go back to college. That right now, that's not my plan, or that's not in the plan. However, I had to recognize that me and my friends and my peers, we are different. And when you realize that you're different, then you'll have an easier time not comparing yourself to other people. So whenever you notice yourself comparing yourself, this is the first thing I want you to do. Recognize your differences. Take a moment to remind yourself that you're good enough. You are good enough, just as you are. And so what? You don't have the same, background as other people. So what? You don't have the same education background as other people. So what? You don't have the same job field, and you may not be as successful as some other people that you're looking at or that you have been comparing yourself to. You're good enough just as you are. And one thing that I teach my children, I try to teach them, don't compare yourself. You know who you should compare yourself to? The person you was yesterday. That's the person you need to look in the mirror and compare yourself to, that person you were yesterday. Are you growing? Are you better? Are you more respectful? Do you love yourself more? Did you give your best today more than you did yesterday. That's how you compare yourself. But stop comparing yourself to other people. So take a moment and remind yourself that, hey, I'm good enough. And even if you don't have something that you see in somebody else, there may be a characteristic in somebody else that you wish you had. But don't compare yourself and don't think yourself as being less than because you don't have the same characteristic as somebody else. Okay. And the second thing is, focus on your own progress. Focus on your own progress. I researched that the happiest people are not those who only make, comparisons with others, but they are those who don't make any. The happiest people are those who don't even compare themselves. Stop comparing your marriage to other people's marriages. Stop comparing your family to somebody else's family. Stop comparing your mate or your education. I like to use education because a lot of people, they feel, in entrepreneurs and those who are searching and they don't know their spot or their purpose yet, they feel like, I got to go back to school. I got to go back to school. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't compare yourself to somebody else's journey, and don't compare your journey to somebody else's journey, because everybody's journey is different. So focus on your own progress. What is it that you've accomplished? Just imagine the difference it would make if you rechanneled all that energy that you do comparing yourself. What if you use that energy to better yourself? Instead of comparing yourself, use it to better yourself. Better, strengthen and sharpen your education skills, sharpen your reading, sharpen your communication, sharpen your insight and your studying and all of that good stuff. Sharpen your skills. Get better at what you do best. And that is the secret. Get better at what you do best. Because see, here's the deal. Somebody may be doing the same exact thing you're doing, but only you can do it the way you do it. Only you have the personality that you have to do what you do. There are other podcasters just like me. There are other people empowering people on these podcasts just like me. But guess what? There's no other me. There's no other person in the podcast like me. We may have similarities, but there's nobody like me. And that's where you have to stop comparing yourself, but use it to better yourself. Okay? And here's the other thing. Here's another tip. Admit you're envious. Just admit that you're envious. Now, emotions we don't own will own us. Emotions that we don't own will soon own us. And so when you can admit that you've had those times when you've been envious, you've had those moments when you say, you know what, I used to be jealous of you. I used to envy what you had. I used to envy that you were so great at what you did. I used to envy that you were so progressive. When you can admit that, it doesn't own you anymore. So if you're wrestling with, different monsters in your head, the best way is to acknowledge it and verbalize it. Admit that you've been envious. I had a young lady come to me. She told me, Dymeata, I used to be so envious of you because it's like everything that you do turns to gold. And she's like, I just didn't realize that I was so envious of you. And she said, I just was jealous of you for so many years. And I told her, I said, you know what? It appears that everything that I touched turns to gold, but there was a lot of hell I had to go through, a lot of work I had to do, and a lot of sacrifices I've had to make, a lot of things I've had to lose. And we're still learning. We're still growing as a business. And so I had so much more respect for her, though, because she was able to acknowledge that she was envious. And there's nothing wrong with that. And now she's progressing. She has her own organization. She has her own business. And she's really, really doing good. And it's just something opens up when you can admit that you had that moment or that flaw. Okay? Because when you can own it and you can say, you know what, God, fix me. I was wrong. I was envious. I wanted what she had. But when you realize that the same God that gave that person that ability, that strength, that characteristic, that talent, that gift, he's the same God that can perfect yours. So just own it. Okay? And the last one, get off your own back. What do you mean by that? Well, you might think that you're the only person who struggles with this. Guess what? everybody does. Everybody has dealt with being envious or jealous. Everybody has dealt with comparing themselves to other people. So join the club. But don't allow comparison to stagnate you. We're human. We all have human struggles and human tendencies. But you have to remember, you have to own your truth. Okay? So don't be so hard on yourself and think that you're the only person who compares themselves. We've all done it. I've done it. But what makes you better is when you channel that energy of comparing yourself to bettering yourself. Okay? I hope this podcast has been an inspiration to you. Until next time, continue to believe, be original, and live your dreams.
Become a sponsor with Be Bold Radio by booking your commercial slot, advertising your business, organization, or products or services on our show. To find out more information, email us at beboldquarters@gmail.com. Again, that's beboldquarters@gmail.com. It's time for you to take your business to the next level. I'm noticing that many business owners, they have the tools, but they lack the exposure. And we at Be Bold Radio, we want to give you that opportunity to expose your business to over 5,800 listeners per week. Again, to find out more, email us at beboldquarters@gmail.com.